Hey, hey. Welcome everybody to Miss Glow's Kitchen, where there's sugar, spice, and everything nice, where we slice, dice, and entice, using everything we can, from peppers to allspice. What's up, my people? Y'all know what time it is? See y'all in the kitchen.
What are we making today, Gabby?
We're making a chicken gyro. Golly. Mmm. That chicken is really good. So let's start off with the chicken. This recipe is way easier than you think it is, but yeah, let's get started with the chicken. So we're going to pound the chicken, we're going to flatten it out. There's two ways you can do it. So you can do what I'm doing right here. You can put it in a freezer bag. You can take a rolling pin and hit on it a couple times, or even roll over it until it gets pretty flat. So here's method number one for doing that. What we're going to do is we're going to stack this up on some skewers, but you'll see how it's done in a minute. It's very, very, very interesting, but easier than you think. All right, so I'm going to, flatten that out a little bit. Doesn't have to be paper thin, though. All right, so that's going to be good. Flatten that out, and then, let me take that out and show it to you. And let's go to all right, so you can see that's the normal thickness. This one's rather thin now. All right, let's go to method number two. Okay, so method number two, I'm going to take a fillet knife and we're going to fillet this. Now, if you're using boneless thighs and you've used them before, then they can be thick in some places and thin in other places. So we are going to very quickly. It's not as easy as a chicken breast where you can just take that knife and you can just halve your chicken breast or butterfly it. These thighs will not be that easy, so you may have some parts that are still thick. But this is for people who don't want to use the rolling pin method, but you do want to cut yours thinner, so it's actually okay. All right, if you haven't hit like and subscribe, do so now. That like and subscribe button, or else you just might miss out on something really, really good. So let's very quickly just go through the rest of them. Now we'll season the chicken. Now, if you want a really authentic Grecian style chicken, then this is not going to be it for you. So I didn't want mine exactly Grecian style. I just wanted a nice flavor. So I'm using a chicken seasoning right here. So if you do that, and whatever seasoned salt you decide to use, if you're using kosher salt, that's fine. But if you're using a seasoned salt, make sure it's not super, super salty. If it is, then you want to lightly season it, because we're going to do both sides. That's a lemon pepper seasoning I got from Walmart. So I actually like this one. It's really hard to find a good lemon pepper, but yeah, I favor that one a little bit. All right, this is oregano. So here where we're sagging into our Greek flavors. We're going to get a little bit out of it with this oregano. Now, what you want to do with this oregano is you want to sprinkle it on there. You can eyeball it, sprinkle it on there, but you're going to be really careful doing that. This is thyme, so it's a ground thyme. Thyme will take over your recipe. So now, lightly sprinkle every piece, though. But don't make it where your chicken, if your chicken is about a dark green, you put too much. You know what I'm saying? All right, rosemary. Again, this is going to help with our Grecian taste in there. It's going to give us a little bit of that flavor. It's going to bump it up, kick it up for us. All right, so you're going to do that side, then you're going to do this side. And once you've done this side, you're going to be ready to go to the next step. Next step, I'm going to take out a baking sheet. All right, make sure it's kind of deep though. So if it's not deep, then you might want to use, another pan with deeper sides, because you're going to get juice off the chicken. All right, so I'm going to cover this with some foil. It's going to make for easy cleanup. Of course, I'm all for easy cleanup. Yes, I am. All right, so now here is what is going to help stand our chicken up. Now, this is what I'm going to tell you here. We're going to cut it. So it's going to be 2 very, very thick slices of onion. Now, I saw this recipe and I ran across it on Facebook. And the lady that was doing it, actually, I went back to find the recipe and I couldn't find it. So if somebody knows what that site is or something, please, by all means, I didn't mean to tag her in this. So I am not at all taking credit for this style of roasting this chicken in the oven. The seasonings, yes, but not the style for this onion slice is, yeah, obviously, from her. Now, I'm going to cut thick slices. Now, you're going to watch me. I'm going to cut some thick slices here. One, I'm going to tell you to get a bigger onion. And 2, I'm going to tell you to cut those onions in super, super thick slices. And the reason why is because once this chicken starts cooking, the juices, they're going to cook down on this onion, but this onion is going to cook down. And once it cooks down, your skewers will begin to lean forward if the slices of onion are not thick enough. So here, I just did make it where, I didn't have that problem. My chicken was almost done when that happened. All right, so I'm measuring right there. I'm making sure that my chicken fits all the way across the onions. Now, if it doesn't, then it's okay to pull your onions apart before you put your skewers down in them. All right, so some people, you'll want to soak your skewers. That is fine, but I'm telling you right here that it is not necessary to do that. That you can actually put these in the oven just the way that they are. But if you want to soak yours in some water, some wine, some apple juice or something like that, by all means, feel free to do that. Hey, it can only add more flavors, but y'all know what I always say, your kitchen, your rules. All right, so in the stove, the oven, you want to move your rack down to as far to the bottom as you can. So you want to get it as close, because this is going to stand up. And so what you want to do before this is the part that I didn't show in here and I wish that I had, is you want to measure your skewers. So once your skewers are on that pan, however high they're standing up, you need to make sure that they fit. So I had to cut mine. I have the really long skewers. If you have the little short ones, that's fine. But these, I actually had to measure it in the oven. And so now I'm going to cut them. So I cut them and then I broke them at the bottom just so I can get them to stand up. So just when I put the pan in the oven, it'll fit without the top of the skewers actually touching the top of the stove. So we want to stick our skewers down into the center of the onions, right? And so we're going to thread these on here. So we're going to go from the top. I'm sorry, I don't have this from the top, but you get the gist. You want to stick it. Just pull it down on the skewer. Now you want to pull your skewers back to the point where they're actually standing up straight. So we're going to stack this meat. We're going to stack it neatly on here. So easy, so easy, so easy. Here's our homemade Gyros spit, our skewers, if you will. So check that out. One of them's a little crooked, but that's okay. It's going to do what we need it to do. Because at the end, we're going to slice this off here before we put it on the pita bread. But look, that's really nice, right? You got to try this. So you can put this into a 375-degree oven until the juices run clear. So that meat in the middle part of it, because the top and the bottom will cook first, but the ones in the middle, you have to make sure that those thighs are actually done. So it'll vary depending on your stove. You're going to have to keep checking it. So it'll depend on your particular oven and how quickly it'll bake. So this may bake for you in under an hour. You still want your thighs to be juicy. So you'll go from this to this within that time frame. Let us go into the sauce now. So, yeah, we're going to make that cucumber sauce. And Yeah, because you know what? This just takes your sandwich up to another level. So if you want to use a spicy, spicy mayo on there or another kind of seasoning, it's really up to you. But this sauce, I do recommend it. I'm going to use an English cucumber. So almost the whole thing, I cut, a little bit of the tip off it, but we're going to grate it here so you'll see. All right, so I'm going to use 2 cups. Well, actually, it's 2 cups of plain Greek yogurt right there. What I'm going to do later on is I'm going to switch, which is what I'm telling you to do in the beginning of the video, is use 1 cup of yogurt and 1 cup of sour cream. It will bump the flavor of that sauce up so much. All right, so I know I'm picking up, showing you, but I'm going to tell you, I'm going to list the ingredients, like I said, in the description box down below, but I'm going to put them on the screen right here. So now we want to use, of course, that cucumber, that yogurt. We're going to use a teaspoon salt, 4 to 5 teaspoons of garlic powder. If you want to use fresh garlic cloves, absolutely do that. I forgot to get mine. Teaspoon of white vinegar, a half teaspoon of lemon juice, tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil. All right, 1/4 teaspoon of dill, or a dash of dill if you're not a dill lover, 1/4 teaspoon ground white pepper, and a 1/4 teaspoon of oregano. Right, so that yogurt, it is strained. Use cheesecloth. That'll work. So if you have anything like a sieve, anything with very small holes in it, right, then you're going to strain that. Now we're going to do what I say. I cut into it too much right here. I didn't mean to. We just want to take some of the skin off it. So we're going to stripe the cucumber. All right, so every other space. So we're going to move over. I'm going to leave some of this skin on here, in other words. So for this English cucumber, you don't have to take a lot of skin off. For the regular garden cucumbers, that variety, yes, you're going to take off every other strip because you don't want all of that in there. That'll actually be too much. All right. So we're going to grate this entire cucumber. All right. We're going to grate it, and then we're going to squeeze the excess water off because these things do hold a lot of water. So I'm going to squeeze the water off, but let's just get to the grating part of it right now. So there we have it, the entire grated cucumber. If you've got a kitchen towel, you can use even better, but make sure if you use paper towels like I'm using, you've got a brand where they're really strong, because you don't want to mix up paper towel with your cucumber. So you want to be really, really careful with that part. All right, so here, I'm just going to do that, and then I'm going to take a couple more sheets on top of it, and then I'm going to press down on it. So we're going to take all of the excess water off. We want a nice thicker consistency for the sauce, so we don't want it too runny. And so if you put this in here with all of that water, that's exactly what you're going to get. So we want to use only the cucumbers. We've already got this yogurt at the consistency that we wanted, if you understand what I'm saying. So all right, so we take that, I'm going to put that in there, easy peasy. Stir this really well. Yep. It's refreshing on this gyro. It's very refreshing. It's very good. Sorry to say, in Chicago, like I said earlier, we call them gyros. So that gyros. Yes, I know the correct way to pronounce it, but I still like to call it a gyro. All right, so we're going to put all of our ingredients in now. So what you'll do is you'll put everything in. You're going to stir it up. When you stir it up, you're going to taste it, and you're going to adjust your seasoning. So if you need a little more salt, it's better to need a little more than to put too much in there and ruin your dish, because there's no fixing it if you do that. So careful with the salt. Put a little salt in here. So that's everything. And so now we're going to sage over. We're going to sage over to where, actually, I took this out, and then I took 1 cup of this out, and then I put 1 cup of sour cream in there, and oh man, it's so good. So a little more lemon juice, and then we'll do what I just said. All right, so right here you can see I took that cup out, put this cup of sour cream in there, and This one is the correct way to do it. So you'll see that one's a little dark. So if you look at that one, you already know. When you just use all that yogurt like that, that's not even the right color when you look at it. It's a really dark beige color, and it's supposed to be a really lighter white looking color like this. So this one is the one that we want. So I'll list those correct ingredients. So I just let you see me make the correction right on camera. We all make mistakes in the kitchen, but they can, most of the time, they can be fixed. Right, so I'm going to taste it right here. I'm going to put a top on it because it's perfect. And then I'm going to let this go in the refrigerator for about an hour. All right, so unfortunately, my onions needed to be a little bit thicker. So it kind of like fell over a little bit in the stove, but other than that, look at that. We got ourselves some nice chicken. Golly. That chicken is really good. So, here. Do like that. You're gonna cut your pieces off. And from there, put it right on your pita bread. You hear me? Put it right on the pita bread. All right. So now that we're ready to assemble the sandwich, you can see I got pitas already warming up on the stove. So you can warm yours up with a little butter, a little oil if you want to, or you can just leave them plain without anything. All right, so I'm going to slice some lettuce up, slice some tomatoes up, and we have this sauce. So if you don't want to put your sauce directly on the pita like that, and you want to put it on top of your meat, do that, but I just wanted to spread some on here. But of course, I like a dollop on the top too, so shh. That's just me, but baby, this is so good too. So I sliced the meat up on that pan. I sliced it up, and I have the onions right there too, so you can see it's still steaming hot. So that liquid that's on the bottom of that pan, oh man, those pan juices, they so good. And the chicken, they got down into the pan juices along with the onions. It is so good. So on one of these pitas, I'm going to put the meat, lettuce, tomatoes, the sauce, but the other one, I'm going to add the onions to it. And trust me when I tell you, you don't want to omit that part about putting those onions on there. It is so doggone good. All right, so put some of those bad boys on there. Oh boy, the flavor is ridiculous. Yes, look at that. All right, so we'll get done with the assembly. Then I'm going to come back. I'll show you what it looks like. All right, so that's what it looks like fully assembled. Yes. So ladies and gentlemen, my allergies really flared up today. So I'm going to have Dee do the tasting for me.
That's good.
That's good? Oh, thank you. Oh, that's coming from a kid. Y'all know what I'm about to say now. Y'all better go make this.
Y'all better go with this.
Yep.
And peace.
As usual, it's been a blast. Thanks for spending time with me in my kitchen. Hit that like and that subscribe button and that bell for notifications so you'll know right away when I put a new video up.